Hi everyone! As you can see, I've got my Christmas tree up, I've got my decorations ready to go. I'm going with a Patronus theme this year, but before I get into the decorating, I wanted to quickly show you guys some of the Harry Potter themed Christmas trees that I saw at Universal Studios. Now I'm going to quickly run through how they've done it. I'm also going to throw in a few tips and tricks of how you could do an affordable option yourself. When I was looking at the decoratings, I'm like, oh gosh, that's really quite cute, some of the decorations, but at like $15 a pop, there is no way I would be able to go and just buy all the decorations to do a tree like that. So with that, let us start with the Honeydukes tree. So the Honeydukes tree at Universal Studios is kept really quite simple. They've got this beautiful Honeydukes ribbon, they've got Birdie Bott's every flavor beans, they've got these metal chocolate frogs, which at 25 bucks a pop was a little too much to buy myself. Then they've got these bright pink Honeydukes baubles, some gold, some silver, and then right at the top, they have a stuffed chocolate frog, which they used as a tree topper, but they also used one or two around the tree around the base as well. So after seeing that gorgeous Honeydukes tree at Universal, I decided to come home and make my own. So as you can see, I picked up the Honeydukes ribbon for when I do my own tree. If you aren't able to get to Universal Studios or order it online, I would probably say go with some pink and white and like a little bit of green. It's like a pastel-y lime green color. If you can pick up some ribbons in that color, you can probably have a whole lot more to work with as well. So to decorate my Honeydukes tree, there were two different ways of doing this. I used items that I already had, like this cauldron cake, which was actually an eraser from a Loot Crate box. I also had jelly beans I strung through and jelly slugs from a Honeydukes candy pack. But then there were also the decorations I decided to make myself. So I had seen these really gorgeous chocolate frog decorations at Universal Studios, but at $25 each, I really couldn't justify it because I think in Australian that ended up being like, it was at least $35. So I decided to make my own. So I started by making the chocolate frog cards, and then I just printed those out on heavy stock and just really made sure that it printed like really with rich colors. You can add this extra layer and probably use some gold embossing if you want it to be just a bit more three-dimensional. And then what I wanted to do is have some chocolate frogs that looked like they were leaping all over the tree. So to make that, I took some school glue and I sifted in some cocoa powder. It makes it look really naturally chocolatey, as well as it has a really beautiful cocoa smell that comes off of it as well. Now there's two ways of doing this. The one I did, I took some plastic chocolate frogs that looked quite real. And so I had a chocolate goopiness to my mixture because I wanted to be able to pour this over the chocolate frogs and also take a little brush and just to get into those little finger crevices and so on. So that helped to kind of create a really nice smooth finish. That first batch, don't worry so much. Most of it is actually going to coat off once it dries. It kind of just sort of falls off. But what it leaves behind is sort of like this first finished coat, and it allows the next layers to really adhere to something onto the frog. So there's two ways of letting this dry. You can, as you can see, I wrapped this around a little wooden skewer and then popped it into a glass just so it hangs. And if you are laying them down, just make sure you move them so they don't stick to the alfoil or baking paper, whatever it is that you have on your table. So once those are dry, they don't take too long. You can take a hairdryer to them. I just went back over with a paintbrush with that chocolate mixture and just kept doing that until it had a really nice chocolate coating. The reason why I use the school glue is for this very reason. When you see the final of what the chocolate looks like, it looks really soft and smooth and doesn't look like it's been painted on. So the other way of making these chocolate frogs is to use a chocolate mold. Just be aware that it does shrink, so you want something that has a really clear defined frog shape to it. So I took a 1/4 cup of white school glue and I took 4 tablespoons of level cocoa powder, and I just kept mixing that until I made basically a chocolate dough. You should be able to pick it up with your hands, and you're going to want to just keep kneading that until you have a really nice smooth chocolate paste. Then you're just going to tear off a little bit and press that straight into a chocolate mold. You're going to press that in and let that sit for 24 hours to dry. Just check it throughout every few hours, and you might just want to press down again throughout the process just to really make sure that that pattern is pressed into the head and body, because when I pulled some of them out, some of them had started to lose a little bit of their shape and they kind of look just like a chocolate blob. The other decoration I made was the turquoise little baubles just to go around the tree. I tried to choose a color that was as close to the Honeydukes green as possible. In my case, I actually had a can of paint from the hardware store. You can just mix these colors using acrylic paints as well, whatever works, but I found I was able to kind of match colors using paint swatches and then go get like a little sample pot. Now, again, to make this really have a nice smooth consistency, I used school glue and then mixed the turquoise color in, just a little blotch or two, because what happens then is once you've wiped it all over your bauble using a paintbrush, it should be smooth enough that it kind of just drips off. If there's any drips on the bottom, you will just kind of want to dab those while it's still wet. And what I find is that whole bauble just sort of smooths itself out eventually, and looks like it was actually naturally painted that way. Because then it doesn't have that streaky paint look when you've actually used a paint and paintbrush. And there you go, tree one. That is a Honeydukes inspired Christmas tree. So on to the next Christmas tree. Now I didn't replicate these ones, but I really wanted to show you. This first one was owl post inspired, and I loved this. This was so cute. You've got the owl ribbons running through it. You've got Hedwig on the top. They wove the Harry Potter acceptance letters through the tree. They had miniature owls. They used golds, they used silver baubles. A few of these you could probably make yourself. I mean, the silvers and the whites you can definitely just grab, which is a nice basic thing. Your acceptance letter you can print off on some hard cardstock and hang those easily. Even the ribbon, you could probably grab some stamps and some fabric stamp and make your own owl post design across all of that, or even grab some fabric pens. That would work too. I did also quickly grab this photo of some of the owl decorations they had there as well. As you can see, they had a few other ideas. They had pine cones, so they had a bit more of that woodland feel. And I'm guessing you probably could find a few owls for decorations either on Amazon or at Walmart. I'm sure you guys have lots of selection to choose from. Now, if you want a little added extra to this owl post tree, here's what we did. We have these parcels, so all your Christmas gifts would be wrapped like this, so they look like they have all been delivered by owl post. So in most of these cases, I have these parcels all up in brown paper, on different shades of brown. I've also printed like little address labels. I've printed up in the corner here where they've come from. So you've got Leaky Cauldron, Flourish and Bots, Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions. So it obviously depends on what you have in the parcel, but my guess is there's something in Hogsmeade for everyone. To finish it off, I made sure each one of these has like a little owl post. So in some cases I was able to run the paper through the printer, but in other cases I just printed this off on other paper and then just glued this on top. Then to finish off your parcels, just tie them in twine so it looks like they've been tied and are all ready for delivery from your owls. So our third and final tree is the Hogwarts Express. So color scheme wise, you're looking at deep burgundies and gold, and you can see that all through their tree. And just to keep this in mind, you know, when they do trees, it's kind of about just choosing those few simple pieces and then just like duplicating them over and over again. So the one thing you see is the Hogwarts Railway ribbon. That is beautiful. If you don't have that, that's not a problem. Just use some burgundy ribbons and some gold. Gold you can definitely find in any shops at the moment because Christmas time. Then they have a train set that runs all the way through the tree. Now obviously theirs is branded Hogwarts Express, but with a little bit of touch up, I know there are plenty of train sets that you can find in stores right now, especially if you're in the States and Canada, even easier to find. So just like a little touch up with some Hogwarts Express stickers and you can probably make your own. Then I would say you've got your burgundy baubles. They have the platform 9 3/4 actually on that. Just think about separating that. You've got burgundy baubles as one thing, and then print off some platform 9 3/4 as circles, cut those out on some really beautiful cardstock, and I would hang that as decorations throughout the tree. And they also have their platform 9 3/4 London to Hogwarts golden ticket. Those are definitely printables that you can find online. You can use a little bit of golden embossing powder and heat that up, and that'll create that really beautiful texture and make it feel a little bit more magical. They also have the Hogwarts crest if you like, but the main thing is keep it simple, kind of just know what your color scheme is and blend that through. For some bonus ideas, I would say I saw this little train track stocking holder. You could probably get one of the trains from that train set and If you super glue that onto a heavy stocking holder and paint that all silver, that is a nice way of replicating what they've done. If you're looking for artwork and you've got a mantle nearby, I would definitely say print off your Hogwarts Express, platform 9 3/4, both of those signs, and use that as artwork above your fireplace. So they did have another tree. It was the Yule Ball. They used a lot of little dresses and costumes to decorate this tree. If you stay tuned, I am going to be decorating my sister's tree up Yule Ball style, but I'm going to go with a little bit more of an elegant, magical glamour feel. Anyways, with that, I hope you guys are filled with lots of ideas of what you want to do for your own Christmas tree this year. I've got a few more, as I said, Harry Potter themed Christmas trees coming up, as well as the Grinch themed Christmas tree that I did last year. Anyways, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you guys in the next video.